Okay, pinch pots part 2. So once you've already made a basic pinch pot, and remember that involves wedging the clay and then pinching it out after you've prepped it and getting nice even walls. A little refinement is good, evening the rim and smoothing your surface. There are other things you can do. So there's 3 main ways we can change our clay. It's manipulative, additive, and subtractive. So the first, manipulative, I'm just changing the clay. I don't add anything to it. I don't take anything away from it. So with that being said, if I want to manipulate the clay, all I'm going to do is change it. So maybe I don't want it to be a circle. Maybe I want it to be a square. So I can manipulate this clay, change it to more of a square shape. And my square is really uneven, so I've got to figure out how to get it a little bit more. And I could do like a square shape. I could do a cool flowery edge. Maybe I pinch this a bit more and I start to manipulate my edge into a little wavy shape or a flowery shape or a pie crust, whatever you want to think of it like. So I can manipulate the clay into most anything I want. You're going to start to get to know the clay. The clay has limits for sure. It will crack on you. It will not like some of the things that you want it to do. And it will, I don't want to sound like a weird art teacher, but it will speak to you. The clay will speak to you. And it will tell you, stop doing that by cracking or becoming really frustrating for you. So listen to kind of how the clay is responding to whatever you're doing to it, but you certainly can create some manipulated shapes. And that would be one way to change your little pinch pots, or any project that you do is by manipulation. The other way would be subtractive. So I have to take away the clay. An obvious way to take away would be, let's say my rim is kind of up like this. I could, instead of creating a wave by manipulating it, I could actually take away the clay and make a wave. So I could cut out little pieces with a cutting tool. This is a blade knife. It's a little sharper than the fettling knife. And I could cut out pieces. Let's not make ashtrays. Let's make cool art. But I am going to cut out little sections. And it worked out perfectly, which is good. And then of course, when you do subtractive, it's always a good idea usually to come back and smooth out whatever you've cut. You're gonna be like, why does she make me smooth everything? It's not that it has to stay smooth. I can come back and add a texture on this, but anything that looks fresh cut kind of looks like a 3rd grader made it. So we want to make sure that we're coming back and refining things so that it looks like a high schooler made it. And quite frankly, pinch pots, I mean, they aren't the most refined things, although you can make some really phenomenal pinch pots. You'll be like, mine looks like a 3rd grader made it. Well, it's also your first project. Okay, so you can subtract to get shape. You can manipulate. The other thing you can do is additive. So we're going to learn something new called slipping and scoring. And I need to get my slip. Okay, so we're going to do something called slipping and scoring, which is new. Slip is just watered down clay. So it's this kind of ooey gooey stuff. It can be anywhere from sort of liquidy, watery, to more like yogurt or cottage cheesy. And so what it is just watered down clay that we call slip, and it acts like the glue. It helps hold things together. So instead of just manipulating or subtracting, maybe I want to add some details. So let's say I want to add some cool little decorative balls of clay onto my rim, the top of my pot. So if I make these balls, I can just put them on there, but they're going to fall off when the clay dries. When clay dries, it shrinks. Shrinks, it separates. So these 2 pieces will fall apart. I need to do something called slip, score, and seal. 3 S's is what I teach. And so you can do it in slip or score, score or slip. I usually do it in the order of slip, score, and seal. So what I'm going to do is put some slip where I'm attaching my balls. I'm going to slip the actual thing I'm attaching as well. So we put it on both parts. And then scoring is just scratching the surface. So I'm not sure if you can see this, but I'm going to create a little tic-tac-toe board, little X's, whatever you want to think about it. I need to create a texture. It's like Velcro. 2 textures come together and they're stronger. So I want to create a little Velcro kind of texture there. And I want to do it on this one as well, slip and score. So now I'm scoring. And I need to do it on the pieces I'm attaching it to. So I'm going to score this, and now I'm ready to put them on. So I've slipped, I've scored, and now I seal. Sealing is where I put it on, and I should put it kind of firmly so that it's pressed together. But I think it's really important to do that third step of sealing, which is one of two things. I can take that clay and with my finger, I can just mush it all together and seal it up. So basically I've added a ball to the rim, and you would never know it because I've sealed it completely tight. That's okay in some circumstances, but in this case, I really want it to look like there's a ball sitting in a little valley. So when I seal it, I can also seal with tools. I don't have to always just use my finger. And with a tool, it's gonna be really tight. I don't know if you can see it at all, but with a tool, I'm going to grab the clay from the ball or grab the clay from the pot, and I wanna seal that connection up, but I want it to still look like they're separate. So we can trick people, we can still seal it, then we can come back and redefine where we've sealed, and it will look like a separate ball. So I don't know if you can see that, but there's a difference between one that's been sealed and you keep the integrity of where the two pieces come together so you can still see a separation, or you seal it completely where it's just all mushed together. Either way, I'm slip, scoring, sealing. More likely this is gonna all stay together when it's dry. And anytime I do additive decoration, I need to slip, score, and seal. If I'm going to put a cheesy little heart, which we'll learn to be more creative than this, but if I'm gonna put this cheesy little heart on the side of my mug, of my little pinch pot right here, I need to slip and score and seal it. So I'd have to figure out, okay, where's it going? Maybe put a couple of guideline marks of where it's going. And then I would slip the heart shape, score the heart shape, slip, score the actual heart itself. And then when I go to put it on, if I want it to look like a nice heart, I'm going to use a tool and I'm going to seal those two pieces together so that that seam, no air is getting in it. And I'm going to do my best to seal the inside, the outside, and all the way around it. Okay, so that's the basics of manipulation, basic subtraction, addition. And don't forget that you can subtract on the walls. So I could cut into my walls completely and make some kind of a design that incorporates negative space, right? Where I've cut something out, subtracted it completely. I can also do subtractive by just carving. So maybe I want to carve a heart into my pinch pot instead of actually adding it on. So subtractive decoration can be carved in. If you're gonna carve, there's only one tool you don't carve with, the pin tool. It's super thin and pointy. It doesn't look good. It looks scratchy, and it also usually gets covered up by glaze. So carve with any other tool but the pin tool and experiment while we're just learning. And aside from working on the side, you could also put things to the bottom. So don't be afraid to think about, could I put those little balls of clay? Or maybe I could put a little ring of clay, slipped, scored, and sealed on the bottom, and I'm adding what we call a foot. Or if I have balls around it, it's feet. It could be leaf shapes, it could be fingers or toes, it could be whatever you want to sculpt or make, and you could slip, score, and seal on the bottom. So those are your basics: manipulation, addition, subtraction.